Hi everyone, I'm Bill Holcomb and thanks so much for joining me as we embark on another beginner's watercolor tutorial. Whether you are a complete beginner or have a few paintings under your belt, I'm sure today's tutorial will help you learn a few things and help provide you with some good practice techniques. Today we will be going through the basics of using wet in wet washes to create a simple yet beautiful watercolor landscape. Now that the simple sketch is complete, let's mix some colors for the sky. I start by mixing some Winsor Blue. At the top it's quite strong and then weaker at the bottom, so more water. Then with a quill No.8, we put clear water in the sky area down to that pencil line. Then we've got the weak mixture of the Winsor Blue, still using the quill. This would be very much equivalent to a mop type brush. So I'm avoiding certain areas where I want white clouds. And today some of the clouds will be larger, some very small ones, etc. Just for variation. And some might have a little bit of a hard edge and others a softer edge. So I'm fusing in with some clear water here and there, and coming down to that pencil line where we will later be painting in some water, whether it's a lake or ocean, whatever, it doesn't matter. You'll see that come together later. Then you could use some tissue to lift a little bit and create those white clouds. Then once that's complete, we will be using the darker mixture of the Winsor Blue. Here we go, using that at the top of the painting, because at the top of the painting, it's always darker. As you look up into the sky, of course, the further up you look, the darker it is. And this is very much in the distance as well. So that's forming up quite nicely. Then I've got a mixture of some Winsor Blue and Paynes Grey. And here you could use either a No.4 brush or a No.8, whichever you feel most comfortable with. The smaller brush will give you a little bit more control. So lay down some of that mixture at the bottom of the white clouds because they're darker underneath. And then just fuse that in. You can add a little bit of water every now and then to help you fuse it in. We're not aiming for stark, dark clouds. It's quite subtle. Okay, so just fuse the edges, shape them accordingly. Quite a simple sky, nothing complicated. Then we've dried that off with a hairdryer, dries much lighter. Then we've got a 3/4 size flat brush, laying down clear water, and then coming in from the sides with your weak blue mixture. As I say, this could either be a lake or the ocean, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a light area on the water where the sun is just catching. Once you've done that, bring in your darker mixture of the Winsor Blue, also from the edges again, and preserving that light area as much as possible. And you will see I purposefully leaving little gaps here and there as if it sort of ripples on the water. Then you've got your mixture of Winsor Blue and Paynes Grey. not too strong, as you can see, but that's just representing some of the darker shadows on the water from those clouds. Dry that off thoroughly with a hairdryer. Then you can use your kneadable eraser to take out most of the pencil line on the horizon, but then resort to a half-size flat brush, lay down water along that horizon pencil line, backwards, forwards. You can dig in a little bit to the paper because it's very robust. Arches 300-pound rough, and then lift with tissue. Clean tissue, don't transfer any color. If you use a dirty tissue, one that's already being used for mopping up, etc., might transfer color, so avoid that. This piece of paper is quite small. It's 11.5 inches by 7.5 inches. Then you see those two brushes here, the number 4 for Fuumuui and the number 1. This is for laying down the trunks of the trees and the various branches. And you will see that purposefully, when we do this, all the branches are intermingled or overlapping each other, etc. That makes it much more realistic. So I would encourage you to do that. And of course, you make up the shapes as you wish. I've only got those pencil lines as a guide. You undoubtedly can add more. I'm sure I will as I go along. And then as we get to the extremities with the much thinner branches and so forth, then use your smaller brush, like your number 1 from the set of 9. So continue with that, coming together quite well. And then what we will be doing is put in some dead leaves at the tops. You could use, I would suggest, maybe your number 8 brush, and you will see me go into the pigment and flatten it a little bit. So I'm not using the point of it. I've flattened it, and it's enabled me to scrape on various dead leaves on the tree. Then we might as well do the various rocks in the water. Use your dark mixture, that mixture of light red and Paynes Grey, a bit of Winsor Blue, and you can start at the bottom of each of those rock formations and work your way up, and we will make sure that the bottom sections are darker than at the top. Then later on, we'll add in a little bit of a grey reflection for each one. So here we go. I'm using some Scarlet Lake with the Winsor Blue this time to create a grey mixture, bluey grey mixture, which we'll use for those reflections. So having mixed up that grey mixture, we're doing some shadows in the snow, and I want these as varied as possible. I'm using the flat half-size brush, and I'm purposefully here and there scraping on the pigment so I get a broken effect using the texture of the rough paper. And what you will do is have some lighter areas, some darker areas, so a good variation going on. And you will see that occasionally we'll drop in at the bottom of those areas some clear water to help fuse in. Here we go, we're doing some of that now. Just fusing that in. That is the way we create the snow in the English style of transparent watercolor. We use the white of the paper. So you're not resorting to lots of opaque pigment, such as Chinese white, or acrylic, and gouache, and so forth. Then we've got some nice shadows, stringy shadows coming in from the tree there. bearing in mind the location or the brightness of the sun, as indicated by the light on the water. And I will purposefully here and there break that up as it goes over the snowy mounds and so forth, in and out of them. So that's coming together quite well. And because we have an autumn early snow situation with brown leaves on the tree, we're going to show a few of them on the ground, scattered around the base of the tree and a bit further beyond. Using the scraping technique, side of the brush, and number 4. To achieve that, you need the pigment to have less water with it, as you can see in the mixing pan. It looks quite thick. It's not runny. And I'm just getting a little on the end of the brush each time. Then have a few little clumps of red grass and so forth peeping out of the snowy mounds. But don't overdo it with those. Just do a few. But don't want them all over the snow area. We're a long way through the painting now. This is a quick and easy one for beginners, I would suggest. Now we're coming in with that mixture for the rocks, where we've got a little bit of the shadow and reflection on the water. If too much is laid down, use tissue to take some off. And finally, for a little bit of life, we'll be adding some birds in the sky, a little bit of life and movement as an added attraction to the painting. Use your smallest brush from the set of 9, and that makes it much easier for you to achieve though with a number 1. And here we have the finished painting, Snow Landscape. Perfect for beginners. I hope you have a go at this one because you'll learn a great deal from it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.